What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, delicious, smoky, dry-aged, at-home Wagyu ribeye steak. Coming up! If you've never had dry-aged beef before, basically it's a process of taking a whole cut of meat and letting it age and dry in the fridge uncovered for anywhere from 30 to 300 days. And in that time, it's going to lose a lot of its moisture content, which is going to really concentrate all the beefy flavor while adding some nice subtle fermented flavors, which is very tasty. But the problem with dry-aging meat is the longer it ages, the more the exterior is going to dry out, and that little pellicle has to be removed to get down to the nice clean meat. So the longer you dry-age something, the more meat you're going to lose, which is why dry-aged meat is so expensive. So the best way to maximize flavor with minimal loss is somewhere in the 30 to 45 day range, where you still get all those nice funky flavors, but you're not losing too much of your meat. And luckily, dry aging meat at home is very easy to do, and you can do it in your own personal home fridge. So that being said, today we are making some dry aged Wagyu ribeye steaks, and it is going to be delicious. This is a Wagyu prime rib. I got this from meatandbone.com, not sponsored, but as you can see, this is a beautiful looking cut. This is about a 9-pound prime rib roast, marbling score between 6 and 7, so it should have some really nice intramuscular fat, pretty much a high prime, and it's looking really nice. And there's not much to do to it at this point. Just gonna take a look at it, see if there's anything weird hanging off like that, for example. Trim that down a little bit, just a little nicer presentation. But really, we're just going to get it into the Umai dry bag. If you're unfamiliar with the Umai dry aging bags, they're essentially a membrane or a bag that's porous in one direction, meaning it's gonna allow moisture to escape while simultaneously not allowing any other bacteria to enter, which makes it perfect for the home dry ager. So simply enough, we're just gonna take this ribeye and we're gonna stick it right on in. Beautiful fit. It's like it was made for doing this. We're just gonna do our best to get as much air out of this as possible because it's not really a bag, so it's not gonna vac seal super tight, so trying to get as much air out as we can is always a good move. Speaking of vac sealing, let's seal it up. Got these little foam diddlies that you put in here to help it get a really nice seal. Again, just trying to help all the air get out as much as possible so we get a nice tight suck on this thing. And there we go, beautifully sealed package. But for extra measure, I'm gonna throw a few more seals on there. Not that it really matters in this context, but hey, while I'm here. All right, so now the dry aging begins. I've got it on a wire rack in a sheet tray here just to catch any drippings that come out of this thing. And into my fridge it goes for the next 30 to 40 days. This video is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. And I gotta say, having someone else do all the shopping a few nights a week makes cooking a lot more easy, convenient, and fun. HelloFresh is also a great way to maintain your New Year's resolutions and health goals, because having a meal plan like this a few nights a week, making meals nice and easy, means I'm much less likely to go out and get some fast food or order a pizza or something like that. It's also great because with all these pre-portioned ingredients, I'm much less likely to waste food and end up with more product than I need. Meaning instead of buying a whole bottle of sweet soy sauce glaze, they only give you exactly what you need for this recipe. All the food is genuinely delicious. Every meal I've had from them has been incredibly tasty, as well as adding more variety to what I cook. Because it's really easy to cook the same things all the time, but with HelloFresh, they send me something new in every box. Also, if you're new to the kitchen, this is a great place to start, because half the guesswork is taken out of there for you when it comes to proportions and ingredients and whatnot. Ooh, that looks lovely. Beautiful little mushu pork bowl. So if you're looking for a little help in the kitchen and you want to get some delicious, easy to follow meal plans delivered right to your door, go to HelloFresh.com, use code ChudsBBQ16 for up to 16 free meals plus 3 surprise gifts. Again, that's HelloFresh.com using the link in the description of this video. Use code ChudsBBQ16 for 16 free meals plus 3 free surprise gifts. Thank you, HelloFresh. 38 days later, this thing is coming out of the fridge. And as you can see, this thing has shrunk up a lot and taken on a much different color and feeling a lot more dry and smelling amazing. Nice and beefy, kind of funky. But first we need to remove all of this pellicle on the outside to get down to the nice meat. I do apologize about the audio just now, but there are 2 ways to go about this. You could go through and take all this off while it's all in one big roast, or you can do what I'm gonna do, which is cut it into steaks and then trim up those steaks individually. I'm gonna start by just squaring this up. That looks beautiful. It's gonna be a good little snack right there. And that's the great part about buying a whole roast, is you get to really decide how thick you want your steaks to be. Beautiful. I'm really trying to do as few saw marks as possible to get a really nice, clean looking steak. And I gotta say, that looks beautiful, and we really don't have to remove much on the exterior on that either. Perfect looking Wagyu dry aged ribeye. The marbling on that is perfect. Dry-aged Wagyu ribeye mountain. But today I think we're gonna go for an extra thick steak. That's looking perfect to me. So now to get this trimmed up, we're just gonna remove all this discoloration on the outside. But as you can see, it really doesn't go that deep into the meat. So really we're just gonna try and take off that surface. Beauty of the ribeye too. Big fat cap on there, so we're really just losing a little bit of fat, not going too deep into the meat itself. Lob that chunk of fat off, save that for some dry-aged beef tallow. Yes, please. And there we have a beautiful dry-aged Wagyu steak trimmed up and ready to go with really not all that much waste. And this stuff can be used in several different ways. You can add this to your burger grind to get some funky flavor on your next batch of burgers, or you could render it down for some dry-aged beef tallow, which is probably what I'm gonna do with it. Or you could chip it into some sausage, or make yourself a dry-aged beef stock. Smells so good. Beautiful marbling on there, and the texture on it feels really nice. It's a little more like malleable than your traditional full moisture steak. But that being said, let's season this up. I'm gonna go with a little bit of oil, just to act like a binder. I'm gonna rub that in until it gets nice and tacky, and we're gonna do that on all sides. Next up, a generous application of some kosher salt, and don't forget the sides, folks. Some 16 meshed black pepper, and a little bit of some granulated garlic. Perfect. Let's fire up the pit. One of these days I'm gonna dry age that damn snake in my boot. On the pit she goes at 250 degrees until it reaches an internal temperature of 120 degrees internal. We're gonna pull this off and let this rest, let that carryover cook happen, and then we're gonna sear it off. Oh, gotta love that sizzle. Just flipping this periodically. Whenever it starts to flare up a bunch, I'll usually give it a little flip. Ooh, nothing wrong with that. This will only take a couple minutes. And just like that, off she comes. That is a sight of beauty. Let's slice it up. I figured the big knife was appropriate for this. Ooh, smells heavenly. So when I pulled this off the grill, I let it rest again for a little bit, and it was rocking an internal temp of about 130 degrees, but the color of it is not as red as I was expecting. And I've noticed that about dry-aged beef, that it has a different color to it. But rest assured, this is a perfect medium rare, so let's give this a shot. Oh wow, that is a little bite of heaven right there. It's smoky, it's got that wonderful crust on the outside. I mean, look at that end. Gotta love that. The fat just melts. It almost reminds me of bacon in a weird way. Not so much that cured flavor, but you know, it's dried and salted and smoked, but it's still 100% beef. Oh my God, it's so good. The beef flavor is just double that of a normal steak. We even got a tiny little smoke ring on there. God, that is just so tasty. It's everything you want in a steak. That is something special. I must say, that was one of the tastiest steaks I've made in quite some time. I am curious about that color though, because I threw it onto the grill at around 118 degrees internal. So I'm not sure if dry-aged beef carries over to a higher degree than regular meat, or if just the coloration is different, but hey, I got plenty more steaks to experiment with, and that's kind of the whole point of this video. I implore you to go to Costco or Sam's Club or something to get yourself a strip loin or a ribeye roast and give this a try for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're gonna end up with some absolutely fantastic meat. But that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like on this video. Also leave a comment down below letting me know what you want to see me cook next. If you do give this a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to make all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!